Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at johnnydellsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD. Yes, happy Krampus. I was told yesterday was Krampus. I don't know if that's the real day for it. I remember it was a crappy movie. I don't know much else about it, but today is December 6th. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. This is the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast. We are answering the whys and hows, trying to. We certainly struggle. On this channel sometimes this year. But I think we're in a little good mood. We're going to go over some film. I'm always excited, as you should be. You should also be helping to boost the algorithm, as so many of you already have. What is up? Quiffleball, Dr. Steve in the building. Dr. Steve made it on time. I'm happy about that, as did your wife, the lovely Dawn Dell. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I have my my chai in my mug.
Chai or chai tea or
Well, it's not chai tea because
chai
then it would just be
latte.
TT. It would just be TT.
Okay.
You understand that, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like when
Chai is
people
tea,
say
people.
it's kind of like when people say bow staff, like in The
bow is a
Office, Dwight's always talking about his bow staff. In Japanese,
bobo.
bow means
Have
staff.
stuff. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes. So how you feeling, man? I'm excited for some film. This matchup, Isaac Guerrero, I'm happy for him. Let's get it going.
Yeah. I mean, feeling okay after everything. I mean, kind of come to terms with what the season is.
Yeah.
I told Adam, ran in here to my office because this morning my daughter came to me while I was cutting up, while I was exporting the film. I have a bunch of film. I have 8 clips, Ben Bartch, that I wanted to share with everybody. And so we'll get into the Ben Bartch film in a minute. I may not be as fluent or seamless in some of these clips because I was in the middle of writing my notes on it. My daughter came into the living room and said, hey, the washing machine is making a mess, and she's 4, and went in there and it had flooded my laundry room and my bathroom that was adjacent to it. So that's been fun this morning, dealing with that. So Merry Christmas to everybody. I will say, appliances anymore, they suck. They suck. Nobody can make any appliances that are worth anything or that last. We've owned our house for 9 years, and I have nearly replaced, and we replaced all, every appliance was brand new from the time we moved in, and we have replaced nearly all of them. The only thing I hate even saying it, but the only appliance that hasn't been replaced is our dryer and our stove. So, I've had to replace the sump pump on my dishwasher, replace that, then had to replace the dishwasher 2 years later. The compressor went out on the fridge after 5 years, and replaced the compressor, and then it went out again a year later, and had to get a new fridge. I have a over the range microwave. That thing went out. It's just been, I had a tankless hot water heater, a nice tankless hot water. My brother-in-law is a master plumber, and he was like, "There's only 2 companies I use because they're the only ones I'll warranty." And 6 months after the warranty went out, my tankless went out last August. So I had to get a new tankless. I just replaced my central air unit. It's ridiculous. Like literally a month ago, replaced my entire central air unit because it had rusted out, and that was brand new when I bought the house. The person before me had replaced it, so like it is ridiculous these things anymore. I've repaired that washing machine 3 times, I think. So I repaired it. I took it all apart, had to watch YouTube videos and put it back together. But I don't know now. So I'm a little cantankerous about that. I'm feeling like the 49ers are put together like my appliances. You just can't keep the pieces working right and keep everything together, and things are falling apart, and you're constantly having to repair holes and things. So that's how it feels with the 49ers. I mean, if it wasn't bad enough coming off of in that Buffalo game, and it was doubly frustrating watching the film because there were so many explosive runs, and this wasn't a situation like you say, well, they're in the snow, and so that gave the run game an advantage on both sides of the ball. No, like the issues that we saw the 49ers having in the snow were not issues that suddenly popped up because they were in the snow. These were issues that have been with the team for weeks. And I put it on my X account. I said, because I reposted it because I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I posted how I thought every team right now that it was early in the season, the 49ers were showing a significant struggle in stopping duo runs, which, I believe it was Mouse McNally, the offensive line coach who came up with duo. It's basically he was looking at what inside zone was, and he started running a uh, power inside runs with inside zone blocking principles. And I was looking at him like, we can't stop duo. Like you just it, and really it came down to our defensive tackles were not eating up double teams. They were allowing guys to get off way too quickly and get to the second level. And I said, teams are gonna keep running this against us until we prove we can stop it. And every team since then has run just copious amounts of duo against us. Literally, the Bills in 3 drives came in the same formation, same personnel group, and ran duo to the same exact play of duo. It wasn't even like duo left, duo right. It was strong side A duo. Ran that at us like 9 times within 3 drives. And one of which was the massive, uh, touchdown after we missed a field goal, right? So like that those issues were not because of snow. So when we flip it around and say, were the 49ers just successful because this was a game in the snow and defenders weren't getting their footing or anything? No, actually, this was a lot of it was Ben Bartch. The addition of Ben Bartch was such a boost to this run game. Aaron Banks, and I was really hard on him after the last game, and him and Jake Brendel. Jake Brendel was much better than he was the last 2 games, and Ben Bartch was performing, and his tracks were so much better than Aaron Banks. And again, we'll look at the Ben Bartch film because I think this should be your starting left guard going forward until he proves himself otherwise. Because Aaron Banks has already proven this year that he is not a capable run blocker in this system. And we used to keep him I remember his rookie year, he was a high draft pick. He was a second round pick. That we had looked at him and everyone was really excited because he went through the whole season, only gave up like 1 pressure. But he had some deficiencies in the run game. Over time, those deficiencies have not been improved, and teams are exploiting those. There's enough film out there that he has not improved on that. So we'll get into that. But it was so frustrating to feel like this offense was about to take off. If you can run the ball like that and it's not a blizzard, this 49ers offense is going to look hugely explosive, hugely explosive. And then Christian McCaffrey gets hurt on a play. I mean, it was close to being a house call, and that maybe changes the game. Like that shoestring tackle changes everything. And then coming out of the game, Jordan Mason, high ankle sprain, he's out. So you're down to Isaac Orendo and probably Patrick Taylor, and then they just signed the kid. I believe it's from the Titans. I believe it was Titans or Giants, one of the two. I want to say he was a 4th round pick this year. I want to say, and he was on the practice squad, and somebody that Shanahan had really. He's got a name that's a little hard to pronounce, and so it's escaping me right now. But Shanahan said in his presser yesterday that he was pretty high on him.
So you said, man, that one tackle kind of changed everything. I want to tell you guys one thing, maybe a couple things in this one thing that changed everything for Ben Bartch, and that is a protein shake of 7 scrambled eggs, a tub of cottage cheese, quick grits, peanut butter, bananas, and Gatorade. And that is what gave us the Ben Bartch we have today, because you may not know he was a tight end.
Anaconda, that's what it was. I knew it was. I was thinking it was New York, and I said Giants, and
From the Jets. Yep.
Diego's coming in with that.
Diego.
Yeah.
And so Ben Bartch became halfway into his college career, moved from tight end, went from 245 pounds to a massive 308 pounds, and became the Ben Bartch that we know and love now. He was with the Jaguars, got drafted in the 4th round. I had to look all this stuff up, man. I was excited to learn more about him because the proof is in the pudding. I think we're all
We're
excited
in
for
the
this
grits.
dude. Oh, that is a good pull.
And didn't he drink? Didn't he drink like 4 or 5 of those shakes a day?
Yeah.
Because I remember at the NFL Combine, he made one, and he was trying to get. Can't remember who it was interviewing him. He was trying to get them to drink one, and she was like, "No,
Not
no,
happening.
ain't having any of that." I mean, look, that would probably be a really good like late evening post workout kind of protein shake there. I mean, you get the whey protein, and you get the egg protein, which and then you get casein protein out of the cottage cheese, which is a long digesting protein. So I mean, you get these proteins that are gonna basically stage. You're going to have your quick digesting, your medium digesting, and then your long digesting proteins. So keep the body flush with proteins over a long period of time. In theory, that would tell you that your body's going to maximize the use. Although there are some interesting studies about 24-hour protein ingestion at all at once versus spread out that seem to indicate that it doesn't really matter as much. Anyways, it can go either way. But he put on a ton of weight, and he moved from tight end to ended up being guard. I believe he was trying to be a tackle, and then they ended up putting him at guard. Yeah, so let's jump into some Ben Bartch film. I'm gonna pull it up here. We're gonna start out from the very beginning of the game. I'll share the screen here so that I'm not having to narrate exactly what's going on. Get this a little bit bigger. So Ben Bartch, he's gonna be over here, number 78. He's in the white, playing left guard. So this is I think the first play of the game. We're running a little stick concept here with George Kittle. Or it's really a Tony. So we're running a little Tony concept here. Juwan Jennings is going to come across, and he's going to run down the field. And so this is a 3-step drop. And what you like to see is one thing that has driven me nuts between Aaron Banks, and this even goes back to like Mike Person, and Jake Brendel would be guilty of this too. And one thing that I really liked from Dominic Puni early on is understanding the depth of drop of the quarterback and the timing of drop, and that influencing their pass set. So when you have a 3-step drop, you're not worried about this guy actually beating you on like a speed rush or really on a bull rush. Like a bull rush is never going to get there in time. So really, it's don't let them just come straight through. And the bigger thing is you need to engage them and get their hands down. We have seen too many times over the years, these guys get their hands up and bat passes down. Just you will have PTSD from Super Bowl 2019 if you start thinking about that. that we had. It was like the entire right side of the line was batting passes down in the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter. One thing that was driving you nuts was that we were calling these 3-step drops, and these guys were backpedaling, and they're waiting for the defensive lineman to engage them. You need to short set, engage. You should even actually attack just a little bit, engage, and so you lock this guy up. Don't let him get easy eyes on the quarterback and just stand there and put his hands up. If he tries, then you grab him in the armpits. That's what you do. You hit him. Some old school offensive linemen actually used to teach these guys, if that guy puts his arm up, you punch him in the side. Like, you take your palm and you punch the guy in the rib cage. That will get somebody's arms to come down. That's what they used to teach. And some still do. Like, get into their ribs. They will pull their arms down. So we're going to see a little 3-step drop here from Ben Bartch. And what we see is, bam, love it, attack. He's going to get into him. Okay. First step isn't back. He's attacking. You see the same thing from Dominic Puni. The only guy who's not is he's got to then, widen a little bit is McKivitz. But I like it from Jalen Moore. He's going to attack because we understand that this is the side they're going to be throwing on a 3-step drop. And so trying to get these guys' arms down. I love it. Engage. This is Lawrence Phillips, their best defensive tackle. And he locks him up. Bam, attacks him, ties up his arms, drives him out of the throwing lane. So I love it. We're moving already. Like, it was one of those, I was really excited to see how he would go. And you see something like that right from the beginning, and you go, all right, we're off to a good start. So then this is a 3rd and 1. This is the first 3rd and 1 of the game. And you just need to get some yards. So you're running an inside dive here. And one thing I want to point out is, again, Ben Bartch is here. They're going to combo here, and Bartch is going to combo and then work to the second level, because you're trying to come right in here. You just need 1 yard. Okay. Understand, Ben Bartch is 6'6". Jake Brendel is 6'4". So he is 2 inches taller than Jake Brendel. And this may be one reason that they have been a little reticent to play him at guard, because he is tall for a guard. That's really tall. So a lot of times tall guys struggle with pad height. If you remember Alex Boone, who played guard for us in the Harbaugh era, he was 6'7". And again, he was a college tackle that was converted to guard. And I want to say he had a similar track. I want to say he was a tight end too that ended up moving to tackle, much like Joe Staley was a tight end that converted and moved to tackle. But so he's tall for a guard. With that in mind, let's watch his pad level here, because this is about driving off the ball. Okay, look at the height difference here. This is a guy that is 2 inches taller than Jake Brendel. That is a drive block. I love that. He's low, hips are in a driving position. He's got his hips engaged. This is power run, but he's not unbalanced. Look at Colton McKivitz on the other side. Colton McKivitz is leaning, okay? This is what we call a shover. So he is leaned over and he is shoving, and so there's no balance. There's no, the base is narrow. Here you have a nice wide base with those offensive line. You have hips in a good position, pad levels nice and low, getting into that defensive tackle. And because if you notice, Brendel is not the high man here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Brendel is not the high man. His hat is higher. This is Phillips's hat right here. That Brendel is not the high man here. Bartch is the low man. That's why this play works. That's why this play wins. He's the low man, is able to drive this. Drive that, create a new line of scrimmage, eyes to the linebacker, peel off, and pick up the linebacker. That is beauty in run blocking. I mean, if you ever want to say a beautiful, ugly run, that's a beautiful, ugly run. Because this is a play that they're really only trying to get 2 yards, and they get like 5 or 6. Again, let's just watch this. This is run block. Offensive line people, I hope you hope this makes your day. because that is beauty right there. So loving what I'm seeing from Ben Bartch. Like I put it out. I think it was after the second drive. I'm like, all right, I've seen enough. I want to see Ben Bartch. And people will be like, oh, well, it's in the snow. It's this. No. These are things that I have not seen from Aaron Banks all season. Okay. This is not the snow is helping you out. These are fundamentals of playing the position that, and again, just ripping off these runs. These are fundamentals of playing offensive line. You don't get better on your fundamentals of pad height, base width, stuff like that because of the snow. Like that's not happening because of the snow. This is happening because this man understands how to play offensive line a little bit better. Okay, so now we're going to end up coming with a little split zone here. We're going to bring George Kittle around, kick out, and we're going to work this right up through here. It's going to look like your wide zone. So you have to block and drive everybody down. So you got to wash this down. And again, the Bills here are trying to fill up the interior of the offensive line, right? They're trying to bring a 5-man surface, wide edges, and then clog up the middle. So you got to wash this down, and you're going to end up coming right through here. And I want to say that Juszczyk's going to come up and get somebody. They're going to send him in motion. And so now, this is what you want to see. Like, you got the linebackers being driven by the blocking action of Juszczyk, and now you're going to be able to block down, come out, kick out, and this is where you're going to get a nice, great, lovely hole. Again, pad level. Look at the pad level. Look at him compared to Jake Brendel. So look at Dominic Puni and Ben Bartch along that line. That is what you want to see. Everything that we've been really excited about Dominic Puni is what I'm seeing from Ben Bartch, right? Low pad level. Sorry, I kind of drew that at an angle. Low pad level, driving hips, wide base, fundamentals of offensive line play. Beating the man across from you with a low leverage. We had so many of these kind of plays. Aaron Banks was up here where Brendel is, and he's getting driven into the backfield, and we're getting running back stopping their feet, and they're going this way, or they're trying to run around. This has happened far too many times. Okay. So Ben Bartch in here locks it up, heads on the correct side. So you want to be on this side, your head on this side of the defensive lineman, because you need to drive him that way. And look at these two guys drive this all the way down with Kittle coming on the kick out. I mean, this is a thing of beauty. Like, this is the stuff we used to get really, really excited about, because now Christian McCaffrey's one-on-one with a safety, and guess what? That safety ain't tackling him, and he wipes out the corner too. And you're getting an explosive in the run game. This is what we have been missing with the offense. When people talk about Brock Purdy and throwing, yes, we haven't been as efficient in the pass game, but we have not been this consistent in moving people and with our fundamentals of the run game all season long. Like, again, people will always go back to, well, Jordan Mason was, 145 yards rushing or whatever during the first number of games. And then Shanahan benched him. And I go, yeah, but those games should have been 250 yards rushing. They should have been 200 yards rushing. Like, we were leaving tons of run game yards, of rushing yards on the field. And it was so frustrating to watch. So seeing this is like, okay, I'm seeing something that I get really excited about. Again, ripping off chunk yardage. You put Jordan Mason in, and you see the same result. Is you're getting huge chunk yardage. I mean, we're just going to come now with the same play. This is just a little bit dressed up, a little bit different. We're going to come across, then we're going to bring Juszczyk to kick out. I think we pull McKivitz, but we're going to block down, do the same thing, block down on all this, and wash everything down. And again, you're going to see Ben Bartch, low pad level, head on the right side. Great hand placement here. All right, I got to go back here because I got to show this. Great hand placement. Gibbs always talked about that on these blocks, what you want to do is get your hand right under the other guy's armpit. And that's exactly where it is, because you're going to be able to leverage up and down. And so if that guy is in front of you, get your hand up in their armpit and drive. And so that's what I'm seeing. Low pad level. Great hips. He's over his toes. He's not leaned. This is what I'm liking. So again, you're going to see we're bringing this McKivitz, he's going to kick out, and we're just coming with a counter trap here. So now Juszczyk's going to be able to pick up Milano. Debo's come up, picked up Rap, and you kicked out, and you're getting a hole in here. Look at Bartch here. He is destroying his man.
Seek and destroy.
Yeah, I mean, because again, he's locked in under the armpit. No holding penalty. Beautiful.
Run over Damar Hamlin.
Love it. Love it. Like, this is what this offense has been missing from its run game. Is guard, a left side guard, because we used to run behind Trent Williams and Aaron Banks a lot, right? And it was like money. You could get these kind of runs all the time, and we have not gotten that this year. Yeah. So just watch Ben Bartch. Love it. And then you're running hard. This looks like 49ers football. I mean, come on. That's exciting.
Yeah. Between when Trent comes back, man, you talk about the season not going just off the field things, and man, hearing the news with Mooney Ward and now Trent Williams, but all that to say, talking about the offensive linemen, Trent Williams, Pooney, and now Bartch, you feel like if Feliciano, there's been talk in the chat, he's been thinking about hanging it up, but also
he said he was hoping that this was his last season. That was what he was going into it by was okay.
If he was healthy,
I'll let my And so he was like, you know what? But we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. If I'm the 49ers, though, I'm not counting on that. I'm not banking. Like, Feliciano is for me, he's plan C. I would not bank on that. You did that with Alex Mack, and that's how you got Jake Brendel. So, I mean, let's just be real. Like that's what it is. So, for me, watching this tape, and this is where, again, I don't fully understand. They haven't made an announcement like that Bartch is now the starting left guard. They may be using this week as, prove it, Bartch, do it again. I don't know, because Aaron Banks is still in the concussion protocol, and so they haven't cleared him. He didn't practice yesterday. So, they don't have to announce what they're wanting to do there. And that gives them a schematic advantage as well. If the Bears have to assume that when Aaron Banks comes back, he's the left guard, now they've got to go do all the film study on Aaron Banks as well. And they've got to go do the film study on Ben Bartch and prepare their defensive linemen for both of those guys. So that you're never going to announce those things until you have to. Like, you actually have to declare them. So I didn't expect the 49ers to come out and say, look, Ben Bartch, or I don't like Ben Bartch is our starter going forward. It's just, they play really well. We want to see a little more. It's going to be a lot of coach speak on that, because and that's what you should be doing. But I will just say, if when Banks is healthy, Bartch is not in the starting lineup somewhere, either at center or left guard, then I will start sending some strongly worded letters to the 49ers headquarters. Like, you must explain yourselves. Like, this is criminal. You must be trying to tank if that's what you're doing here. Right. So that's where I see it.
I agree with Collator says, I love this. Got to say, having 3 of 5 in good standing feels pretty good. That's kind of where I was going with this, is like, we talk about Trent Williams and then Pooney and you know, man, we're feeling really good right now with Bartch. It's like moving forward, we know the season isn't going to end the way that we would like it to. And so I do kind of my brain wanders a bit into April and wondering like, okay, we made a great pick with Pooney. You called it. Shout out to a one Johnny Dell for
Ow! I
definitely
punched my
hitting his
microphone trying to
microphone.
dance about it.
He's episode 179 is where it goes down. But yeah, dude, I legit remember you on multiple episodes talking about Dominic Puni. We got him.
Well,
He's
it
our
was the
guy.
mock draft episode. Like what happened was is every single mock draft, um, like I was picking Dominic Puni, like every single one because I couldn't not pick him. Like, and he was always there in the third and fourth round. And I was like,
Yeah,
I can't not. And it was such a need. And I was like, he fits the 49ers. He fits that need so well. Like
that Mike didn't
they've
deserve
got to
that.
pick him. Like they've got to pick him. And
For
so
football. Oh,
yeah.
Lisa. What is up, Lisa? Good
Okay.
morning. So you're telling me there's a
So you're
chance.
telling me there's a
Oh gosh.
chance.
Okay, Dumb and Dumber. I don't I'm
Yeah.
we there is
There is a chance,
there is. We need
but
help
let's
from our
also be
friends in
I
the
mean,
NFC
look,
West.
at this point in the season, if the 49ers make the playoffs, woo, okay.
Cool.
Bully
Playing with
for
house
them.
money.
Um they did something that nobody thought they could do. I mean, if you believe the 49ers can make a chance, put money on it now, like for real. Go put some money on one of the betting sites. I'm not sponsored by them all. They offered me. I didn't want to do sports betting on the channel. So that's one reason I really appreciate the super chats. They offered me a pretty good amount. And so like go put some money on that because you will make some money if the 49ers making the playoffs because their chances are very, very low. Very, very low. Now, the one thing that's going in their favor is that the Lions keep winning. So the Lions week 17 um most likely aren't going to be playing for anything if things continue. I mean, I know the Eagles are nipping at their heels, but if they continue to win and continue rolling, they're going to lock the 1 seed up pretty easy. Now, on the
Well, and
other
the
side of
Vikings
that,
too. The
on the other side of
Vikings.
that, if you're the Lions and you remember what happened in the NFC Championship game last year, the one team that you don't want to face in the playoffs, and if the 49ers are in that situation, they've gotten hot, like they've gotten red hot.
Yeah.
The one team that you don't want to face that has gotten hot at the playoffs is the team that bounced you from the Super Bowl last year. So,
Yeah.
like, if it comes, so there's this kind of double side of that of like, if you're the Lions and you get to week 18 or game 17 and week 18, and you don't have anything to play for, you've already locked up home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Do you rest your guys and hand the 49ers a win that if they win, they're in? Or do you say we really don't want to play these guys in the playoffs? So
Right.
let's strap it up and bounce them from the playoffs now. Um,
What kind of guy
like
is Dan Campbell? I think he plays his
I
guys.
think I think Dan Campbell would play his guys. I mean, when you look at again how they played the Packers a number of years ago, remember when Quay Walker got ejected from the game for pushing the training staff guy, the Lions were playing for nothing. They were just playing for pride. And actually, it was
Right.
going to hurt their organization because they were going to get a worse draft slot. And they still played. They mentally broke the Packers. So I think Dan Campbell plays his guys, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Dan Campbell thing I'm putting in the chat. That is my Instagram. The reason I give it, and you guys can add me on Facebook. I don't hide my name or anything. The reason I'm even saying that is I think I put a very funny meme on my Instagram/Facebook story, and it was
The
Dan
dentist
Campbell,
of memes.
and he's got two jacks, and he's playing blackjack, and he hits. Dan Campbell hits on 20. Like he's just that game last night. I wanted it to bite him in the butt just because it's like, dude, you can't just come in and wreck the league and be doing this. They go for it on the wrong side of the 50 on
All
fourth
the
down,
time.
a toss sweep, a horrible call. They don't make it. the Packers score a freaking touchdown. They don't just score, they score a touchdown because they only have to go freaking 35 yards, whatever it is, and they still win. After again to close the game out, they go for it on fourth down with 40 seconds left when they could have just kicked a field goal. But it's like freaking Dan Campbell, man. Like, it just makes me nervous. And here's the thing. Detroit doesn't know any better because they've been so terrible that they don't have the education that we have of like the right way to maybe handle these types of situations. Now they would argue Shanahan doesn't know in the fourth quarter because
Yeah,
he loses all
yeah.
these
I
games.
was I was about
But
to
come
say
on, but come on.
he
I just don't think he's going to
here's
win a Super Bowl doing that.
like and look, everybody said you're not gonna be successful doing that all the way up until they're the number one seed right now. And they've just been a team on ascension because what that has shown, like again and again, people always say, oh, when it bites you in the butt. Yeah, well, you don't stop doing the things that got you there. Like suddenly when you get there. When you've been uber aggressive and you've been super and because what it also says is it says, I believe in our guys 100% of the time. And we're never playing scared. And we're always going to take our shots. We're always going to go. We're always going to believe that we're going to do this. And if we don't, we deal with the consequences and we move on. And like they've created a team that doesn't blink. I mean, that team does not blink in moments ever.
Right.
Now Jared Goff maybe blinked a little bit last year in the NFC Championship game, but that wasn't because they were just always going for fourth. Now they went for it on a couple fourth downs, and that was what won us the game. And people were saying that afterwards, oh, they shouldn't have done that. And you go, yeah, but that's how they got there in the first place. And you know what? They were able to lick their wounds and say, we swung for it, we didn't get it, but we're going to do it next time.
This is who
And
we are.
they step right back up to the plate and they go for it. Like they've built that mentality. So bully for them. But we're gonna get back to some more Ben Bartch film here.
Let's do it.
I don't know why it's not.
Well,
not
probably
helping
because
me.
you beat the
Oh,
crap
there
out
it
of
is.
your microphone. It
Okay.
didn't
No,
deserve
here
that.
it is.
Oh, wait. One second, Johnny.
If you have two jacks and the dealer shows a 5 or 6 and you're gambling, you split your jacks. That's right. You split them. You essentially
Hey,
have two
no,
hands.
you don't if you're at a table of other people because that's how you make the other people upset. If you're playing by yourself,
Yeah, but
Lisa,
you're not playing against the other people. They can be mad all they want.
no, that's not. There's some etiquette there. I'm just saying. Come on now. But agree, disagree,
It's
maybe.
not the Wild West saloon. They're not gonna pull out a revolver and shoot you under the table.
It's an uneasy
Just
feeling
saying.
though to make the whole table upset with you.
I wouldn't
I've been
know.
there.
I wouldn't know.
I would.
I wouldn't know.
I definitely would. It happened to me in Vegas just a couple months ago.
Okay, so we're gonna see some more continued plays here. This is the one that made that. Oh no, this wasn't the one. So I don't know why this play is running half speed at 100%. Little glitch there. Another just really great play here. We're gonna end up going wide zone. So this is one like I love this. So we're back to what we normally do, right? Wide zone. So we got a reach block here by Brendel. We're going to have a combo and up to the second level by Dominic Pooney. He's going to go get the first guy who shows. McKivitz is going to lead out on the outside. And so we got a little reach block here by Jalen Moore. And then Bartch is going to help combo a little bit, help with that reach block, and then go get it's Bernard. So or Kennard, sorry. And so we're going to see this one great little hand movement here. No look handsy to help Jalen Moore. And we're going to go get Kennard. So one thing that has driven me nuts about Aaron Banks, way too vertical on these wide zones. First 3 steps got to be horizontal. You got to go meet this guy in his track. Aaron Banks' track has been way too shallow so much of the year. And so he's late getting up to the second level. He'll get here, and by the time he's there, the guy is already out here. And so there's a reach and there's a hold, or he just misses the block. Like it's not every time, but there's been some really key moments where he has not gotten wide enough to go get this guy. So here we see the urgency. Ben Bartch Let me pull it back so it runs a little bit smoother. Watch the urgency in the horizontal movement. Look at him go. Look at him go down the line. That's what I'm talking about. Aaron Banks was coming up here. So you're seeing the horizontal movement. He's pushed a little vertical in what's happening. He got a little off bounce, but then immediately horizontal. This is a horizontal run. You have got to get horizontal in your tracks. So here he goes. Look at him go horizontal and meet and get the guy. Again, lock arms, engage, and watch him finish this block. Look at all his patty cake out here. That's going to drive coaches nuts. They're playing patty cake out on the edge. But look at the way that he's going to finish this block, because Kennard's going to try and get off of him, and watch him finish this block. Here, he tries to yank him underneath and drives him to the ground. So there he goes. He tried to give the little shake, and he ended up pancaking himself. That's the block that springs this run, because again, now you get this lane that's through here, and McCaffrey's able to read that block, and he's able to cut it up, and you get boom, you hit the seam, and the only thing that kept that from being a house call was that it was split safeties. We could run against split safeties, couldn't do it against Seattle. So love it. Love the horizontal movement. I mean, this is the details of playing this run game. Look at him get horizontal, meet the guy, finish the block. Love it. I think it was after this play, I was like, I've seen enough. This is on the second drive of the game. Okay. I was like, I've seen enough. Ben Bartch is your man. And then here's the play. Nearly. No. It was that close. It was that close. That's the play McCaffrey got hurt.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yep. Right. But look at how close he was to a house call. Like, there's nobody there.
Yeah. Man, could have changed the game for sure.
Could have changed the season.
You did text me that. You literally texted me that. That night. Yep.
But yeah. Well, let's watch Bartch here. I mean, just what you love to see. And this is where then having two guards who are able to do this really well. So now you're running wides, or you're I gotta watch this again. Sorry, I don't have my notes here. Yeah, so you're running split zone again. So you're gonna then combo down. Now you're coming to the other side. And again, Dominic Pooney, other side. Just what we saw from Bartch, right? He's gonna go get this guy, engage, move him down. In your this is wide zone. So you're gonna end up coming. It's just you have the split flow action to make it look like it's split. But this is wide. So you are reading this outside in. So you're gonna block. You got your combos and reaches here, and we're gonna go get this. So once this guy moves over, great heads up here. That right there is that little shift changes more for the offense than you would think, because this guy now becomes a down block / reach by Bartch, and Dominic Pooney now has to reach here, whereas otherwise that would have been McKivitz's guy. So those guys had to adjust those things right there. So again, great pad level by Pooney, heads on the right side. Again, great pad level here by Ben Bartch, gets the hips locked in. You see Brendel and again, I'm pointing these things out because now you see the difference between the players. Brendel is not over his toes. He's leaned over and he's a shover. So you see the issues that things create, and you tend to see the same things, like same problems from the players who aren't as quality and players who tend to be better for you. But again, look at this. He's going to engage. Continues his low pad level. The hips, again, he's a driver, not a shover. So the hips are locked in a good position, and he's going to drive this down. You got Dominic Pooney is locked up the backside defensive tackle, and now you got a seam, and you're getting through there, and kapow.
Merrill Hodge.
Getting his.
A seam here and a seam here.
Right. I mean, this is what 49ers football has looked like. It's amazing the difference one guard has made to this run game. And then you come out and another chunk play. I mean, this is what was so frustrating about watching this offense. You're just like chunk, chunk, chunk in the run game. So much. And they have a fumble at the 1 yard line. You have Christian McCaffrey's injury pretty much cost them points because it turned a 1st and 10 into 2nd and 16. And then you had to delay a game because of him getting off the field and them trying to, coordinate what was happening after that. And so it became 2nd and 20. And so Christian McCaffrey's injury cost you points and a drive. And so it was just like, why? It was so frustrating to watch, to be like, okay, you guys still are just shooting yourselves in the foot. And so we're going wide zone again. Okay. So what you got here is you got Brendel. He's got on a being a reach, Bartch on a help, and then to the second level on Kennard again. And then you got a reach by McKivitz and a help, and then get to the second level on Milano. So those second level blocks are so important. I've shown it so many times. I showed it last week how Brendel was not getting to the second level, and we had or not finishing at the second level, and we had huge explosive runs that didn't happen because of that. And so now you're going to see that here. Again, look at the pad level. He's firing out low, and he's going to get horizontal. Look at him work horizontal. Great track. This was where Banks would always be late, and he would be coming around and grabbing guys. Okay. And then on the backside, Dominic Puni helping. Great job helping on the back, and he's going to go pick up Milano. Brendel doesn't do a great job on his reach block, but because the guards do what they're supposed to do, it doesn't affect it as much. So now, boom, you're washing down. You've locked this up. You lock this up. So you're going to get a seam right through here. There it is. That's poetry in motion. Then again, and I remember I posted so many clips over the last 2 months on X of plays like this and showing how one of the guards or Brendel missed a block. And I would say, and if they make this block, then our running back is one-on-one with the safety. And people would say, well, the safety probably makes a tackle anyways. And I said, because I'm going, this might be an explosive run or a house call. And people say, the safety probably makes that. I'm like, this is why. Because when you see 49ers running backs one-on-one with safeties, the vast majority of the time, it's either an explosive run or a house call. Like, it is some sort of explosive run. Because these guys finish their runs. 49ers running backs one-on-one with a safety is not good for those safeties. They've been exceptionally well. So if you can get them on that safety, you are ruling the day. Like that's you're happy about life. When that happens, we just haven't had it enough, and we haven't had the consistency here. But man, I love what I'm seeing from Ben Bartch here. Like, look at him go. Again, look at the track. Watch his track on this run. I love it. Ben Bartch is right here. And this is a guy that hasn't been playing in the system for 3 years. But the track is so out there. Urgency, getting up to the second level. Love it. If Brendel seals this off, you really have a lane right through here, and it may even be an even bigger explosive. It's because then Mason doesn't have to stop his feet in the snow and hits that hole even harder. But I mean, my goodness, that's what we haven't seen from this 49ers run game. The Ben Bartch film in this game was so good. Like, there was maybe 1 or 2 bad reps in the game, but I mean, they were just getting chunk runs. And it wasn't the snow. It was just good offensive line play. Here he is again against Oliver. Drive, and they're running behind him. You just need a short gain. So, I love it. You get you're able to combo here. He's able to handle the backside. Brendel and Banks usually weren't handling that on this play. We've run this play this season. You're gonna it's a tight end lead. You're just gonna lead this right up in the middle, and you didn't have this kind of push. I mean, this is a massive push of humanity to get through there, and you're just getting 8-9 yard runs at will. So love the film from Ben Bartch in this game. So that's what I mean. Like, if the 49ers don't find a way to get Ben Bartch, if he has another game like this and they don't end up having him as a top 5 offensive lineman for the rest of the season, that is criminal to me.
A strongly worded letter will be sent by
strongly worded
Johnny Dell. Man, I'm just excited for you find different things to be excited for going into next year, with, again, it being said that this year not going the way that we wanted. And so there's positives that you're looking for. Another is some of the other guys like Greenlaw. I don't know if his timetable to return gets set on a different timetable with our record, what it is. But no matter
what I think they're wanting to see is they're not I don't think they're going to ice him. I really don't. I think
whatever they do next year will be exciting because he'll be that much healthier, wouldn't you say?
Well, he's not under contract for next year right now. So I think they want to see where's he at physically, and is he able to, they want to see a progression towards health through the rest of this season, and they want to see that. They also, I think they want to do right by him, and that's play him out there. I think they also want to get a better evaluation of D Winners with Dre Greenlaw on the field. I think they want to look at that trio and say, is this going to be, our Aziz, Fred, and Dre?
Hopefully not Aziz in some ways.
Well, look. Let's talk about that for a second. I fully agree with D'Amico Ryans. I think Aziz Al-Shire I don't think it was a dirty hit. I don't think he really did anything wrong, because
he threw the elbow, dude.
He threw the elbow. Yeah.
Well, that's not wrong.
No, because here's the thing.
How you figure it's not wrong to do?
You do that 20 years ago. That's on ESPN.
But yeah, if my uncle had a vagina, he'd be my aunt. What we could say, if that doesn't make any.
Whoa, this is a family show, Adam. We are not going there. This is not the Supreme Court right now. So let's keep that out of here.
It's not 20 years ago.
So no, here's my point. One, linebackers in the NFL, they on any given play have got to go either
20 years ago. Even
I'm saying on any given play, they have to go either tackle a 205-pound running back running at 20 miles an hour. Okay, you go hit something that's 200 pounds moving at 20 miles an hour and see how that feels. You've got to go meet offensive linemen who are 300 pounds and they're moving at 15 miles an hour.
I'm with you so far.
You've got to go hit things that are very large coming at you. So, and you are in the middle of the field where it can come from any direction. So linebackers have to get into this mindset of being absolute psychos that isn't afraid of anything. And you are going to be the enforcer in there. Like, what are linebackers? They're supposed to set the physical tone, right? So you have got to meet that violence with more violence. And so that's why these guys have anger issues, because it's very hard to turn it off. They will be on the field. And that's why guys who seem otherwise mild-mannered, like a Fred Warner, are out there and you see him constantly talking trash. You see him constantly getting chippy with the other team because there's a mindset that they have to get into that is not a normal human mindset. Like, this is like a UFC fighter getting into the ring. Like, you don't step into that ring and say, I'm not going to break that guy's leg. Like, you get into that ring and you say, if I kick that guy in the head and he's knocked out, good for me. Like, that's not a normal everyday person interaction. That's what linebackers have to get into that mindset. So when you're now trying to tell them, okay, In 0.2 of a second, you have to turn that off. I don't see how you can really ask that. 2, you have guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Trevor Lawrence, these very athletic quarterbacks that when they take off to run, they're not looking to slide. Trevor Lawrence doesn't slide very much. Patrick Mahomes rarely slides. And Patrick Mahomes fake slides and then takes off running. Patrick Mahomes acts like he's going out of bounds and then takes off running for 30 yards. So when you've told these guys that have to be absolute psychotic monsters that every play is a chance for them to go lay the biggest hit of their career, and then you have this, things are moving so incredibly fast that they've got to judge when a quarterback is going down and when he isn't. No, Trevor, if you didn't want to get hit like that, you should have slid sooner. You should have slid about 2 yards sooner.
That part
at some point
is fair. That
like
part.
you should, and Patrick and league, if you want to protect quarterbacks, then you start flagging Patrick Mahomes every time that he fakes a slide and takes off. Right. Every time that he runs and he kind of leans back like he's going to start sliding. No, you do not. No, make that like a flop technical in the NBA, because the NBA was having that issue, right? Guys just flopping and acting like they're, and it was really hurting the game. That is what this is going to do, because you're going to have players like what happened with San Francisco, that Patrick Mahomes gets out on the sideline and everybody is playing patty cake with him because they don't want to get flagged for 15 yards at a crucial point in the game for hitting a quarterback late out of bounds. Well, he's also then, and then he takes off down the sideline and everybody says, oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes. And you go, okay, he's taking advantage of the rules, so bully for him. But when he gets blown up, I don't want to hear anything about it. And until the league starts penalizing quarterbacks for doing that, you cannot justify a 3-game suspension. You cannot justify a 3-game suspension on a linebacker for doing that to a quarterback when that quarterback has tried to use those rules to gain as a competitive advantage. So until you say quarterbacks, if you fake a slide and you do it twice in a game, you have a 2-game suspension. Or even you do it 2 times in a year, because this is what happens when you guys do that. And so you put it on everybody. You say, Patrick, you've got to protect Trevor Lawrence. You can't do that stuff, because these guys can't, you can't expect them to come in and make decisions like that in that moment. That puts other guys in harm's way. So it's not even just about that game. It's you are now putting every other quarterback in the league in harm's way, because these hits will be more and more common. And the league is trying to say, well, no, but the league doesn't want to stop the offense. I understand that. But at some point here, there's as many defensive players in the NFLPA as there is offensive players. So the defensive players need to come to an alignment on this and say, no, we are not going to allow, and we're going to push in the CBA. Like, there has to be a change in that. Quarterbacks cannot do this. This is not fair for everybody. A quarterback has as much responsibility to protect himself as the defender has to protect. Actually, he's got more onus on him to protect himself than the defender. It is not that other guy's, the guy on the other team's responsibility to keep you on the field. It is your responsibility to keep you on the field. It was I remember and part of where I come from this is I used to read through all the old playbooks all the time. And I think it was in John Gruden's playbook, in his passing playbook, he was talking about a lot of their in-breaker routes, and there's coaching points for the receivers. And one thing he's hard on his receivers, he was like, don't be trying to avoid the blow-up hit. It's the quarterback's responsibility to keep you from that hit. They put all the onus on the quarterback. So if one of their receivers got blown up, it wasn't the safety's fault. That was directly on the quarterback. And that was how the league viewed everything for a long time. I remember it was, the famous hit by what's his butt? The guy, the old Raiders safety hit the guy of the Vikings, separated his helmet off of him. Forgetting his name. Anyways, like, I remember him talking about that hit, and people are like, dude, like, this is why some guys have brain issues later, like hits just like that. And he was like, his quarterback shouldn't have thrown that ball. He saw me standing there. Like, that's how the leagues viewed everything for a long time. They didn't look at that and say that was the defender's fault. Everybody in the league said that's the quarterback fault. Like, you take that up with your quarterback. He's the one who's putting you in that position. And so you used to see it like certain quarterbacks, if they were known for doing those hits, guess what? They didn't last in the league because their receivers stopped running routes over the middle. And they stopped doing that. So, like, at some point here, we took the onus off of the offensive players protecting themselves and said it was about defensive players. Now, there's a difference between that and cheap shots. Okay, and I think everybody understands the difference on that and a cheap shot. Like, that we're not talking about the blindside cheap shot hits. We're talking about, like, this is a bang bang play, and quarterback, if you don't want to end up in that position, then give the defender a little bit more time to make that decision.
So the two things that I want to point out, one is Lisa. She says a defender cannot shift his body in midair. This is not the Matrix. First of all, how do you know, Lisa? Despite what body parts you have, I'm joking. Yes, I agree with that part. The second thing I want to say is here's how I know that all of this and some of the chat is skewed. Here's how I know. Because if that was Brock Purdy, you would automatically feel different when you see a flying elbow that is the elbow in which he has gear on it that is coming in at the head. And all of what you just said, talking about deking and not getting out of bounds and Mahomes, okay, that's not the issue. The issue is Trevor Lawrence, and the issue is sliding. He didn't deke. He didn't fake going out of bounds. He didn't fake anything. He's
No, but my
simply
point is,
late. He did go later than what if you were coaching, like it wasn't for a first down. It just get down sooner. That part I fully agree with. What I don't agree with is as soon as you see him start to go down, there is time with all of your rage to not go in with your elbow. There is time. And if it happened to Brock Purdy, every single one in this chat would say if the player was say
okay, well, I would agree with that, Adam. I don't mean to cut you off here, but I would agree with that if Aziz wasn't a guy who was throwing that forearm on almost every tackle he makes. He's not a wrap-up tackler most of the time. He's a big hitter, right? That's going back to his time in San Francisco. Like, that's not something that is just unique to his hit on Trevor Lawrence. That's how he hits running backs in
well,
the
then you're
flat.
going to pay a fine.
That's how he, I mean, so what I'm saying is, like, you can't just turn that off. Like, again, where does that come from? That comes from you are on the field and you turn into a psycho and you flip a switch.
Then there's
I mean,
repercussions for it.
how many times have we seen Fred come in and he's either punching or he's throwing that forearm, that same left forearm, okay? And so, like, you have that. You can't ask a defensive player because there's nothing wrong with that hit any other time. And we normally love those kind of hits. We've seen Fred make those diving forearms, right, into running backs in the flat. Well, you don't have a guy who's flipped that switch and then all of a sudden turns it off. And no, I disagree with the Brock Purdy thing, because here's why I know that is because we weren't screaming for the league to change rules or all about just all these dirty hits when Steve Young had to retire because he had a like 8 or 9 concussions through his career. If Steve Young's got to be looking at these rules and saying,
Oh,
good Lord, if I had played in this era, I would have made another 7 years in the league.
Right.
Joe Montana, same thing. Joe Montana was constantly blown up. And what did we as football fans what were we always saying about Steve Young? Steve's got to protect himself better.
Right.
So I do push back on that to say it's just, we wouldn't feel this way if it was our own quarterback. Actually, maybe, with the rules,
we would, because the
we
rules
would at
are
least
there.
justify him there. But at the same point, when you see your quarterback get hurt like that, you also say he has got to protect himself better. I don't think there's many Jaguars fans that sit there and say, Trevor, if you go out and you do that again, I will be perfectly fine with that. I mean, unless they're not on board with Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
right.
Like Jaguars
some
fans
may not be.
Jaguars fans that believe in Trevor Lawrence and
Mac
want
Jones
everything,
fans.
like, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna be like, Trevor, please protect yourself better. If that happened to Brock Purdy and then Brock Purdy went out the next game and did the exact same thing and slid at the same moment, we would all be sitting there like, Brock, protect yourself, right? We would all be screaming about it on social media. So yes, we would still feel the same way.
I just think with Joe Montana and Steve Young, The reason we didn't is because there were no rules in place. And so we didn't even know that we could feel a type of way. Whereas now there are rules. And that's why I say, yes, I get, first of all, Brock doesn't slide. He goes in head first, which I'm not fond of, regarding the protect
Yeah, but
yourself.
Brock's never opened his chin up to a guy throwing a forearm.
Right. And what I'm saying is because there are rules with the forearm, as like if you don't want to change your style of play, then that's fine. But there are repercussions for it. If you want to play football with your forearm and beat it into people's helmets, fine. I'm not going to tell you not to. It's your life. But pay the piper when the rule says you can't do that. Even if it was a running back who was sliding down at the end of a game because they wanted to stay in bounds and someone went in with their elbow, I don't agree with anyone that says, yeah, I'm fine with it, who's giving themselves up. I don't believe you. If it was your favorite player or your
Okay.
kid out there sliding and then some guy with a brace comes and gives him a forearm, I'm not believing anyone in the chat. I'm not believing anyone. I'm
Okay.
just not.
So let's put this in another example. And again, because we have to understand this in the speed that the NFL is going. So take you're driving through your neighborhood and you have stoplights everywhere. And the speed limit is 22 miles an hour. But because they lower the speed limit, they suddenly say we're getting rid of yellows in the traffic lights. It's going to go from green to red. Okay? And when they change that, how many times do you think people are going to be going through that intersection on red? And then say they go through that intersection on red and they hit another car. And they say, "Well, you've got to change the way that you're driving. That's on you. That's on you. You should have known that was going to that was going to change." And you go, "It happens in an instant and you're traveling 20 miles an hour and guess what? A car can stop about as fast going or faster going 20 miles an hour that a human being can."
How
This
many
is literally
years
what you're asking.
how many years has this law in this hypothetical been passed? Over 10. Over 10 years this law has been in that neighborhood.
Right, but what I'm
Okay,
saying
if we're
is
being fair
what I'm saying
to
is
the hypothetical.
that
You
after a
adjust in
while,
10
okay,
years.
what would happen? You would either have if there was some they would have some sort of say there's got to be a warning system beforehand that lets you know it's going to change. Or people would be slowing down before the intersection. And that's what you started to see is that guys start to slow down. But when you're in the middle of a game and you can't afford to slow down, and then they penalize you for that happening because a guy puts it right up until the moment, no. Like
Now, I
that
agree this
would that
hypothetical, it's
there
not
just
fair.
becomes
That
no, it
law would not
absolutely
be
is
fair,
because
and it's not fair for this rule in football that you can't hit. I'm saying that it's all unfair. But if the rule is the rule, you can't be mad when you break that rule. That's all I'm
yes, you
saying.
can't. Okay, okay. So
Then don't play football.
okay, so if your city passes a law that you think is completely unfair, then they fine you for taking, you're going to say, I don't get a chance to complain about it because it's a rule now.
No, you can complain all you
Oh,
want.
so there you go. So there you go.
You can
You can't. You just
complain.
said you can't get mad about it because it's the rule and it's the
Oh,
way
I
it's been.
okay. You can
No, you can,
complain,
and
but
you can lobby, and we can, and that's why we have this discussion is because we're saying, league, you need to change some things. You have to put some because
I'll
it's
say you
to the
can't be
point. You have 10
surprised.
years.
You can
You have
complain, you
10
can't be
years of data.
surprised.
You have 10 years of data to point to. This is not working. This is not a good way to do this. And so, and we have quarterbacks who are starting to take advantage of this. So you can't allow it to be the same way. So that's how I feel about it. Is that you can't just say, all right, the rule is the way it is. You got to follow the rules. No, when rules become impossible to execute or highly like when you can't win a game and execute the rules, when the rules are going against you, at some point you say, you know what? I'm willing to take the 15-yard penalty. Because if their quarterback's going to do this all game and is allowed to do this all game, we're going to lose. If he's not in the game, guess what?
We're sending a message.
I mean, for real.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be real about that. Like, that's what it's going to be. And this will lead to more quarterbacks getting hurt as long as the league doesn't start putting some sort of onus back on the quarterbacks to protect themselves.
Yeah, I'll just say we can complain. It is dumb. I am not against anyone on the idea that the rule is stupid and whatever. What I'm saying is when the rule's the rule and then you break it and they give you your medicine, you can complain, but I guess I just mean you can't be surprised. You can't think, well, that's bogus. Like I mean, you can think it all day long, but the rule is the rule. You broke it with a forearm shiver that
Okay, well
I would rather that
now
be.
you're kind of,
Oh, it wasn't a forearm shiver?
waxing eloquently
Do you
about
need to
the
pull up the
severity of everything.
video?
No,
It was a
w
forearm shiver.
again, when you're putting it in slow motion, what did Richard Sherman say about this? He's like, people do not fully understand how fast things are moving out there. And we understand now. We really do. Not fully though, because we usually very few of us have ever played a sport against somebody who can run 19 to 21 miles an hour. Like
We've seen
it was
Bosa on a dime not drop all of his body weight and go like this at the end of a play running as hard and fast as he does. So if Bosa can do it and make it look easy,
Do not compare Bosa sacking a quarterback in the backfield to Aziz trying to meet a guy in the open field when they're running full speed. That is not the same thing. I'm saying very few of us have ever been in a situation where bodies are moving that fast. Again, GPS trackers. I remember. So I went to the Senior Bowl last year. Right. One thing they do after every single practice is they put up the GPS fastest time tracking numbers of how fast players are moving at the Senior Bowl. This is not an NFL game. In Senior Bowl practices, fastest players on the field. Some days it was tight ends, some days it was linebackers, some days it was safety, some days it was running backs. It was different people all the time, but the fastest times were always above 19 miles an hour. Sometimes 20 and 21. That's how fast guys were running on the field in practice. So again, just drive down the road at 20 miles an hour, roll down your window, and imagine running alongside that fast and another vehicle coming at you that fast, and tell yourself that within 15 feet, you have the time to make decisions really logically about all that stuff. It's not fair. That is that. So like when you say, well, you can't be surprised. Yes, actually we can, because we can pull this up and we say, look, this is now a moment to look at this rule and say, this is not, you are asking too much. And so you could say, well, he threw the forearm and he did that. We're talking things that happen in a split second. Run that play at full speed every single time, and you see a normal hit is what it looks like. Okay.
what I'm
So
saying is
I
in
don't
that
want
split
to
second, you
like
can
in
you can be able to like, oh my gosh, a trigger should go off that says, yikes, this is about to be bad if I follow through. And at least an attempt.
no,
There
actually, you
was
can't.
no
No, no,
even
no, 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 no.
attempt. I
Okay.
mean,
Have what you coach basketball. Have when your students come out and throw a basketball at your face. What are you going to do?
yeah, that's what I
What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Adam?
flinch. I'm gonna
You're,
flinch and go
oh, you're going to maybe put a forearm up. So you're
like
telling
this
Aziz
to
that moving it.
protect, not
So
to
you
be the aggressor
no, but
in
here's
that
the thing.
moment.
You will naturally every single time protect your face. That's a natural instinct of everybody, right? So if you're running, it doesn't matter if you have a helmet on, you're going to protect your head, your own head. So what do you do when you go to engage contact? You're going to put something else out in front of you. It's going to be a shoulder. It's going to be a hand in front of the face. You will protect your own head. So when you say, well, he's running and he just shouldn't throw his forearm up, you're saying he should have gone helmet to helmet, which would have been even worse. He would have been crucified if he went helmet to helmet. Okay, so you
Right.
can't hit him with your helmet. You can't hit him with your arms. What's he supposed to do in that moment?
So
You can't say go with the shoulder. No. Things are moving so fast. It was going to be one of those things. It was either going to be a helmet or forearm, and the natural human reaction is to do that. And plus, you've also trained to do that. Like you do that all the time. So you can't convince me in any way in that split second he could have chose not to use that forearm. No, that is a just like instinctual response. There's no thinking that goes on in there. That's like if you hear a loud bang and you duck your head, like that'd
and
be like saying, well, you should know
that's
in
what I'm
that split
saying, the
second
ducking your head, and
that
that's what I'm saying.
there's
batter
no
can
real
check
bullet
swing.
around, and by the time you would have heard it, the bullet already passed by.
So
So
a
you
batter
should
can check
know
swing with a
that,
100-mile-an-hour
ducking
fastball.
your head look.
So when a baseball is coming at a hitter and it hits him in the shoulder, he doesn't go like ugh and attack it. He freaks out because at that minute, at that second that happens where it's like, uh-oh, I shouldn't be doing this. That's what I'm saying. The reaction of being the aggressor to, oh yikes, I need to pull up. I didn't see it with him. I didn't see a, oh yikes, I need to pull up. But yet a batter can check swing, or if my player's throwing a basketball at me, I have time to do this. See how I'm going backwards? I'm pulling up. That's my reaction. How a batter check swings. He's going, he's not aggressively attacking it. That is the difference.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
absolutely a
Okay.
difference.
Okay.
You can't
Okay.
convince me that that's
We've talked too long about this topic here, Adam. We're moving along.
I'm
I
just
will allow
saying.
you to be wrong in this moment.
And I'll allow everyone to be wrong. No, I love talking through it. I will say, I will admit one thing, that I will fully admit that there's about 5% bias because my involvement in a one Sports Idiot Nation, those guys are NFC South diehards. And
AFC South.
so they, the
In
Tennessee
that moment, you should have known that it wasn't the NFC South, Adam. You should have been able to see the
or the
situation
AFC,
and say it was the
AFC.
AFC South. So in that moment, you aggressively offended the entire AFC South by calling them the bag of garbage that is the NFC South. And you had that split second. You could have made the choice not to do that, and you did it anyway. So you know what? We're gonna levy a 3 Sports Idiot Nation episode suspension on you. Miles and Ti gotta fly solo without Adam.
Right. And that's what they obviously hate, both teams, and they thought it was kind of funny when they got in the fights and all that, but they were just saying like, dude, you can't throw the forum like that. And in those pages, those, they're involved in so many Titans pages, Jaguar pages, like, and obviously that was really big for that. But and obviously I love D'Amico and I love all the ex Niners. And so when this all started, because we were talking about linebackers and who's going to be there next year. And when you mentioned that name, it was just like, a trigger that we never really got into. We don't talk that much about the rest of the league, but that still was kind of fun. And I will say the chat overall was more involved in the last 8 minutes than it was the entire hour. So that was always good.
Yeah. Well, when certain co-hosts get silly with their arguments, then the chat's gonna get fired up.
Yeah.
So
So I'll agree with I don't know if I'm saying, if you can put how to pronounce it, Calator, Calador. I appreciate your stance, Adam. It's good to hear all sides. I think the hit was bad, but not close to intentional. And I can be on board with that. And it does speak to the player that he is. Like that's how he plays, like you mentioned, Johnny, like that he is one of those he's like Greenlaw. Like you're gonna know if he's on the field, because if he's out there, he's looking to inflict a huge hit like that. Um
yeah.
so okay, so we have the Bears. Let's just close out by talking about the idea of, you know, there could be a plus to no matter what happens. If we win, we just feel good about simply winning a football game. If we lose, we may leapfrog Chicago in having a better draft pick than them if it shows that we're just going to keep losing. I mean, I don't know. Where's your mindset at for this game on Sunday?
I just want to see the team play good football. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, what we were seeing with the Ben Bartch film, I was getting excited because I was seeing 49ers football, and I was seeing good football from the 49ers. I I look at it and I go, okay, I want to see that. I want to see the offense start looking like that and then tie everything together, because we have not seen the 49ers offense. Like, it's just not felt like, other than the Patriots game and the Dallas game, which it was really only the third quarter of the Dallas game. Like, those 2 points have really been the only times this season this felt like 49ers football. Like, what they do really well. And we've seen potential for that all season. All season, they have shown the potential to do that, and it hasn't come together. So I want to see them play good football. At this point, I don't really care as much about the win or lose. I want to see a team that starts looking like, at least offensively. Defensively, I've lost a lot of faith in a lot of what's going on there. I can't watch this film, and I'm gonna try and do something and put it up later today. We'll see with my my washing machine situation, that of the defensive film, because the defensive film, as excited as I was about the offensive film and Ben Bartch, I was really disappointed and frustrated by the defensive film. I mean, it was just so much bad. And Jair Brown has been late in his quarter side run fits all season. This wasn't the snow. This is, again, a trend that has happened over and over and over again. I was showing clips of this against the Packers. I was showing clips of this against Tampa Bay. We were having these issues. Same exact issues. Same of Jair Brown on the right side, defense's right side, late on his B gap fills and C gap fills off that side against duo. And that's exactly what was happening here. I didn't like Sorensen's calls. We had one call. They were in a 3 wide receiver set, but it was 3 wide receivers and an extra offensive lineman as a tight end. So they had 6 offensive linemen on the field, and we were countering that with our nickel personnel package in the snow. I'm like, that's not a good idea. At some point here, you have to, and we had a check in our defense that we checked to an underfront, which means your defensive end comes down over the tackle. So Jair Brown had to walk up on the line against a 6 offensive lineman, and they ran right at him, and he got blown 3 yards off the ball. Like, that is not putting your defensive players in a good position to succeed. When we hear that coach speak all the time, right? This guy puts his players in a really good position to succeed. That is not doing that. When you put Jair Brown on the line against an offensive lineman who's got 100 pounds on him, that's not a good matchup. And the only other 2 players on that side of the ball were it was Nick number 35, are the nickel that had come in because Lenore was out. I'm forgetting his name right now. Anyways, him and Mooney Ward. So you have 3 defensive backs on that side of the ball where they had 2 wide receivers and an offensive lineman. And so, like, that is not putting your defensive players in a good position to win. And it's stuff like that. Like, so I've lost a lot of faith in Sorensen. Like, I don't see how this can continue past this season. I really think the 49ers need to go out and get Saleh. I know a lot of people have talked about Jeff Ulbrich, because of the connection there, and that they wanted Ulbrich last year. Well, they wanted Ulbrich because Saleh was a head coach, and you weren't getting Saleh to go from head coach to be a defensive coordinator. Yes, Dr. Steve, it was McLeod. And so they went out, they were trying to see if they could make some sort of lateral move with Ulbrich, and that was blocked by Woody Johnson. So yes, Ulbrich's going to be available, and people say, well, I think that's who Kyle really wants. I think actually Kyle would love to have Robert Saleh back, because going into this season and everything, the availability wasn't seen to be there. Nobody was expecting Saleh to be fired after 5 weeks of the year. And when you look at that Jets defense, they have gotten worse under just Ulbrich than when Saleh was there. So, and I'm sure Jeff Ulbrich, I love the guy from when he was a 49er. I still remember being so bummed when he tore his triceps. I think that was the 2004 season or 2005 season. I think it was the 2005 season he tore his triceps, and that was pretty much his time was over with the 49ers. I loved him as a linebacker. I always remember the game that we had when he was on the field, him and Derek Smith. We shut out the Saints They had Ricky Williams, and I think he forced a fumble. Ricky Williams ran it off the left side, and he forced a fumble, so I'll remember that. But Robert Saleh, I believe, is a consultant for the Packers right now, and so he's not under payroll. I think that has to do with them, some of the offsetting language that was in his contract with the Jets, and so they're not going to mess with that. This is going to be an addendum to what he's being paid by them. So I think they are reaching out to Saleh. And would Saleh want to come back to the 49ers? I don't see why not. I haven't heard anything of why not. You worked under Kyle Shanahan for 4 seasons and had four two very successful seasons as defensive coordinator. Even people always point to 2020. We lost a lot of games in 2020 because Nick Mullins did not look good. Nick Mullins lost us a lot of games in 2020. And Jimmy G was on the sideline, and we also had Trent Williams out a bunch of key games. And, there was a lot of problems there. Nick Mullins was not good in 2020, and the defense was actually keeping us in a lot of those games. They were still a top 5 defense. So even without Nick Bosa. So if you're Robert Saleh, the last time you were with the 49ers, that parlayed into a job that paid you more money than 99.9% of the world would ever make. So I don't see why you wouldn't be at least open to coming back to the 49ers and coming back to where an area and a coaching staff that you worked great under and you had a lot of success with. So I think that's where I'd love to see Saleh come back. I don't think there's any problems with the scheme, the system. The Jets were still running it to a high level. There's a lot of guys around the league that run this system. DeMeco Ryans is running this system very well in Houston. So the system still works fine. Gus Bradley still runs it. Dan Quinn, it's changed quite a bit. He runs a lot more matching zones, but there's a lot of things in it that are working just fine. And it's not like you're coming in and you're running all these coverages that nobody else runs. You're having slight differences on the way you go about running them and the way that you tie things together. But most of the coverages are things that have been around for a long time. So it's not like you're coming in and you just need a whole new system revamp and try and come up with something else. No, you're running, majority of things of what most teams in the leagues do. It's just how do you run those, and where do your matchups come up in? So that's why we like the 49ers players for what they have, because you have a Fred Warner and you want him to do what he does well. You have a Diamond. You want him to do what he well. Mustafa's played very well. Renardo Green's looking like a very good bright spot there. When you have Bosa and you can get some other peak guys on the defensive line to help him out, this system works great for them. So it really comes about, I don't see a reason not to hire Saleh.
Yeah, I definitely hope we just don't even know if that's even an option. Maybe they have talked and it's not going to work out.
Well,
who knows?
And I mean, we don't know. But if I was Shanahan, I would be texting him every day. I'd be like, "Hey, buddy, want to go fishing next couple months?
Want to run the stairs? I'll let you run the stairs.
Let's go run the stairs." Like for real, I would be, because this can be your Spagnuolo. Like Spagnuolo has been there he's been in Kansas City for 12 years now.
Continuity.
Like that continuity is huge. It's huge to being able to continually rebuild your roster, because you're not coming in with a different mind who comes in and sees defensive backs and grades them a little bit different, and because of how the little bit of a twist they want and what they would like to have in this system. That's what you had with Jair Brown, and there is Steve Wilkes, one of that, and also Isaiah Oliver was brought in because Steve Wilkes thought he would work well in the way that Wilkes wanted to use him and shoehorn him into the system. You don't have things like that happening. You have a continuity in there, so the Chiefs can continually roll new guys in on that defense. And they look like the Patriots, who did that for years because they had Bill Belichick and they had him there for over 20 years. And it seemed like every year Bill was there, they had a very solid defense. Even when they would be a little bit, lesser on talent, they were still really solid because the system and the continuity was always there. And so that's what I want to see. Is Saleh is probably not getting another head coaching look for a long time, probably a decade, because just because the way things went down in New York, like you can't botch the quarterback situation so badly in New York and have all those problems, and then have like teams being like, yes, I want that guy to handle my quarterback situation, because if you're looking for a head coach, you most likely also have an issue with the head coach quarterback situation. So, I don't think he'll get a look, much like Spagnuolo has it. For a long, Spagnuolo was only in with the Rams for what, 2 seasons, and before he was fired, and it was 2 or 3 seasons, and hasn't gotten another head coaching look since. And that's how I see it with Saleh.
Yeah,
Like, this can be your Spagnuolo.
there's guys out there like that. Jim Schwartz, who's the guy with the big beard who Matt from the Lions. He was with the Patriots.
Matt
He
Patricia.
ran, but yep, him
Well,
there.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's Glenn Allen now who is the defense coordinator of the Lions.
no, but I'm just saying there are a lot of coaches out there who have not gotten any
Oh,
really
right.
opportunities. Matt Patricia has not since he's been a head coach.
Right.
Um, you know, so yeah, he may just add him to the list maybe of guys like,
I
it's
mean, Mike
probably not.
Singletary's still out there as a head coaching candidate and hasn't gotten another look.
Yeah. Um, so the Bears, I definitely agree with you in that I just want to see some good football. I don't mind if we lose even by a last second field goal. If we played well and there's a lot of good tape out there and we're making progress, then I actually don't mind losing for the simple fact of look, like I said, looking ahead to April. So there is that out there. If we win, hey, we win because then there's
Adam's
always
already driving the tank,
I, I mean
headed to
without
the front lines.
so with no wide receiver number 1, with no RB1, no RB2, no LT1, no LB2, no CB 1.5, whatever war it is. I mean, without these guys and with our draft pick, Ricky Pearsall has gone into hibernation. I don't know who we think we're fooling. I mean, so I'd rather have a good draft pick. Now, I'd rather if we're talking would I rather, I'd rather win the rest of the games and still somehow get an amazing draft pick. I just don't think the NFL does it that way. You have to lose those games in order to move up in the draft. So be it. So I want to lose by 1 point and have it be an exciting game. That's, I guess, what I want. Okay, sue me. Like, that's where I'm at. Without all of those players, I just don't. I mean, Isaac Garendo, I on 680 The Fan, they were talking about okay, and who gets the other runs? Who get like we
Patrick
don't even
Taylor.
know the guy's name. Like, it's just the depth, the lack of depth. It's not realistic. So Glass City says apparently Pearsall is allergic to the ball.
Allergic to the ball.
Be nice.
I mean, that slip was bad. Like, he was wide open. Brock put a good ball on him. It was a little ducky, but it was great. I mean, it's going to be Grendo and then Patrick Taylor. So,
Yeah, Patrick
we
who?
forget about Patrick Taylor. Patrick Taylor, he was somebody I liked out of preseason, and he got some
Okay.
carries there against Seattle. Do we forget that? And
Yeah, we did.
actually, no, actually, Patrick Taylor was more of what you would want to see as decisiveness and urgency to the hole than Garendo was. So, like, remember, we won that game. We scored like 32 points in that game. So, um, like, I don't have a problem with Patrick Taylor out there. I liked what I said. He's a big dude. He runs with urgency. Like, this is I'm not sitting here going fretting and going, oh man, there's going to be a huge drop off after Jordan Mason. I'm actually looking like Patrick Taylor and Garendo. I expect to be very similar to the production we got from Jordan Mason. I really do. I don't mean that as a slight on there. I just Lisa, never give up, never surrender.
Booties
Galaxy
never say
Quest.
die. Oh,
No,
yeah,
it's from Galaxy Quest, the old Tim Allen movie. Also had
Toy Story,
it
I
was
feel like too. Wasn't Buzz Lightyear the
well,
same that? Or
it was
maybe
a
not.
nod to Galaxy Quest.
Ah,
And it also had I'm blanking on her name, Alien. She played
Sigourney.
Sigourney Weaver was in it, and Alan Rickman was in it. Forgetting the guy's name, played Monk.
Oh,
He was in it. Yeah.
yeah.
Rainn Wilson's in a very short like cameo in it. It was like his first role in
Michael.
anything. No, he plays an alien. He's only in the movie for like 60 seconds. But yeah, Galaxy Quest, great movie. It's kind of a spoof on an unserious
Trek.
movie on Star Trek. It's a great movie. Never give up, never surrender.
That was a good Tim Allen. Oh, Gemma says hi. Did you see that?
Yeah, Gemma. Hey, Gemma. That's my daughter that y'all have seen come in. She's the wild one. She was a little sick the other day, so she's been home with mom.
30-minute drive for Gemma and a one Don Dell to the laundromat. So we probably got to get you out of here, man. Enjoy the game.
We got to get out of here.
Enjoy the game on
It's a good
Sunday,
podcast.
guys.
This is a good show. It's one of my more exciting ones.
Episode 179 in the books. There you have it here.
There it is.
Remember to follow Johnny Dell Football Academy on YouTube. Show your phone to every Niner fan. Thank you to Power Brand Systems who have set up the website. Remember, check out JFA49.com if you have not already. And Gemma says, hey, love you, and we'll talk to you later.
All right.
So stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Niners.